junior cycle history students, let's run through 10 keywords that relate to Martin Luther and the Reformation. First things first, there are different religious reformers available. Martin Luther is just the one that I have studied, that my students have studied. 95 Thesis refers to the 95 complaints that Martin Luther wrote against the sale of indulgences. Sale of indulgences. An indulgence was a special prayer that you could buy from the Catholic Church to have your sins forgiven. And Martin Luther had major issues with the sale of indulgences. He basically said it wasn't fair. You were taking advantage of kind of the fears of poorer people. And he also said it wasn't fair because what if you were really poor and couldn't afford these indulgences? Does that mean like what's going to happen to your soul? Whereas if you were rich, could you just buy your way into heaven basically, even if you've been a bad person? Justification by faith alone is how Luther believed you got to heaven. So he believed that your kind of belief in God, your faith was the only thing that was going to get you to heaven. Buying indulgences wouldn't help. And obviously this angered the Catholic Church. A papal bull is a letter from the church. Excommunicated means expelled or kicked out. So Luther was kicked out of the Catholic Church, and that was a really big deal at the time because the Catholic Church was the most powerful institution in Europe. Right, so I cheated with the next one, SNAP. It's really 4 words. Simony, nepotism, absenteeism, pluralism. These were the other abuses, the main abuses that existed in the Catholic Church at the time. So simony was the buying and selling of church possessions. Nepotism was giving a job to a family member even if they weren't the best qualified. Absenteeism was being missing from one parish or diocese because you were in another one. And pluralism was having more than one diocese and therefore getting more money. The Counter-Reformation was the Catholic Church's response to the Reformation. Basically, they realized a lot of people were leaving, a lot of members were leaving, so they needed to change to try and stop that. The Council of Trent were a series of meetings that were held by the Catholic Church in order to address some of the issues. The Inquisition was a court. It was very popular in places like Spain and Portugal, and they were basically trying to stop the spread of Protestantism, and they would burn heretics, which is our last word, heresy. Heresy or a heretic is just an enemy of the church. They would burn heretics, so Protestants, at the stake. Heresy is an interesting one. Where is it? There. Because Protestants would consider Catholics heretics, Catholics would consider Protestants heretics. So yeah.